Do you remember what heaven sounded like? Yeah, that felt good, didn't it? How about this one? Okay, man, that was excellent. Let's do one more for the OGs in the audience, shall we? I had a teacher that used to say that being a kid was all about discovering what we like. Was it playing sports, playing music, talking with friends, anything. And then being a teenager was all about making sure we actually like those things. The idea being that as we grow more mature, our tastes grow more refined, but generally, if you like something as a kid and then as a teenager, you will like it for the rest of your life. If your childhood was anything like mine, games were the best gift you could receive. But they were expensive, so in my case, I only got games in very special occasions, like maybe in some birthdays and Christmas. So naturally, I would make it worth my while. I would squeeze every ounce of content that a game had. I would play those games for hours. I would beat the same game multiple times right after beating it. And while doing so, I would have the time of my life. But all of that was back then. What about now? In contrast, fast forward a couple of years, and these things that made us so happy are closer to a dose of dopamine and nostalgia than to actual enjoyment and relaxation. It's been 5 years since the last time you played that guitar, and you kind of want to. You kind of want to get back into it, but you never really do it. Or maybe this is you, but I have a lot of friends that now that they're grown-ups, they can buy whatever games they want, and they will buy it, but they don't really finish it. They would buy Final Fantasy 16, ride the hype train for a couple of weeks, and then they will buy Silent Hill 2, the remake, ride the train again, and then they will give it up for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and so on. You are so excited to purchase and play the next game that you lose interest in what you were already playing. It's more like you're more excited for the purchase than for what the game is actually made for, playing it. Eventually, you end up owning this huge library of games, but without completing any of them. And when I confront them about it, they will hit me with the old, I just don't have time anymore. And friends, I was a victim of these two. My adult routine got in the way of things that I know I love doing. But being older doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the things that you loved doing when you were younger. I got out of it, and I found out that it's about rediscovering the joy in our own terms, our new adult terms, and then finding ways to keeping that alive. And in this video, I will share 3 takeaways in order to do just that, so that you can always hold on to what makes you happy doing. Whereas that's soccer with your friends like you did when you were in high school, working out like you did before you had a 9 to 5, or completing and enjoying games again. So get comfortable, grab something to eat, and let me take you to where it all started. In October of 2017, I got extremely lucky. I played The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for the first time. At the time, I just had a major surgery. I was off work for 4 weeks, I couldn't talk, I couldn't eat, but I finally had the time to play those long games that had been in the backlog for so long. The main story can be completed in about 50 hours, but I played this masterpiece for over 150 hours. It was the first time since I was a kid that I could disconnect by completely immersing myself in this new world. And what a world it was. From the music, the gameplay, the story, it's no wonder why this game is in conversation for best game of all time. Everything that you've heard about The Witcher 3 is true, and it was this game that reminded me that games could still be all that great. Exactly like when you were younger. Which brings me to my first takeaway. Be selective. The internet is full of testimonials of people not enjoying games like they used to, complaining about games right now not being as good as they were in the old days. Or my personal least favorite, I guess we grew up. I know a lot of people that spend more time deciding what to watch on Netflix and then actually watching whatever they decide on. They would go to the tab that says top 10 in your country, pick something from there, and then end up not liking it. I guess they don't make shows like they used to. It's the same principle. Reality is that games are just as good, if not better, than they were in the old days. The market is just oversaturated. There's just too many things to play. More games come out every week, and even more games are announced every day. So, what to do? The thing to note here is that you can't play everything. Your time is more valuable than ever. And if you decide to invest that time playing video games, then it better be something good, something that you will enjoy. With all of this in mind, how do you pick what games to play? What's your filter? Do you even have one? My favorite filter, for example, is word of mouth. It doesn't matter if you get it from a YouTuber, it doesn't matter if you get it from a friend, but it absolutely matters that you respect that somebody. Boy, Esteban sure has played lots of games. He's got so many opinions. Yeah, but can he get pussy though? If the answer is no, you need a better filter. And in the case that you can think of anyone, I would do some research. This is a slow process, but after some trial and error, you will get better at knowing yourself, and in time, you learn to pick more efficiently, instead of just crossing your fingers and buying the next Pokemon game. There is good stuff out there still, and the whole point of tackling the backlog is so that you can find these games that will have you looking at the end credits, being glad that you put the time for it. Speaking of time, here's takeaway number 2. Play one game at a time. Let me explain. Maybe I'm paraphrasing here, but a very wise turtle once said, "You can't live in the present if you're always looking forward, pussy." Remember before when I said that my friends buy games but they don't really finish them? Shiny object syndrome is a core problem that extends far beyond just buying new games. It often comes at the expense of what's already planned or underway. In other words, you lack the focus to finish short-term goals, and without them, long-term aren't getting done either. You know that miserable feeling that you get when you look back 5 years and you see the exact same person you are now? Nothing has changed. That's right. If you don't want to be a loser, you better boot up Death Stranding again and actually finish it this time. Come on, I will never make you. I'm not saying that. But what I am trying to say is that it's all connected. In the case of my friends, for example, I've seen them buy multiple things that they're never really going to use. They are just burning money, wasting time. Nevertheless, it has been proven that establishing grounded goals and setting clear expectations will counter the impulse that characterizes shiny object syndrome. And what better roadmap than a backlog full of games? Experiment on your terms and commit to finishing one game, finish the thing you're currently doing before starting the next one. Your wallet will thank you. Now, here's a little hack that works for me, since focusing on one game at a time for over a long period of time can be tedious and might lead to burnout, especially with games that will take you over 100 hours to complete. You might cheat a little with a multiplayer game. It can be anything without a complex story mode, and if you're playing it with other people, your friends, even better. Insert here your Rocket Leagues, FIFAs, Street Fighter 6, or in my case, your Smash Ultimates. These games are the perfect release for me. Play whatever works for you. In the end, the whole point is to unplug. The principle is similar to when you're watching a show that demands all of your attention, but then sometimes you just want to fold your clothing with something in the background. But dude, what about spoilers? I have to play games at launch, otherwise I will get spoiled. Listen, I'm not going to dedicate a full section to this one. The truth is, 99% of spoilers are our fault. Like, you don't have to click on that video. You don't have to read that X thread. We can decide simply to ignore it, and that's just the way it is. I guarantee you that most of the time, you can just wait. There's no really a good reason for you to get that game at launch. There's no rush. Which brings me to my last takeaway. I think this one is the most important one of all, but it's a little bit hard to explain, so I'm going to tell you a story. I was talking to my friends. These are the same ones that say, "We are not 16 anymore. We don't have time. These new games aren't as good. I'm just gonna beat Pokemon Fire Red again on my phone." We were talking about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which at the time had been out for like 15 months. And it had already been established, and it was another great title, worthy of being the most recent 3D Zelda title. We were all interested in playing it, but out of the 7 of us, only one person had completed the main story. The others had bought it, but hadn't played it yet, or they hadn't finished it yet. Then, Esteban said something that caught my attention. He said that 1 out of 7 is pathetic. If the game is not making us finish it, then the game is failing. It's not a good game. We all reacted with animosity. It's a common reaction after someone insults one of your favorite franchises. And we, like the virgins we are, we will defend Zelda, even if we haven't played it yet. Besides, like I said, the community had established that Tears of the Kingdom is a great title, so Esteban must be wrong. He is just saying random comments. But then, I remember how I felt beating The Witcher 3. Whenever I was doing anything else, all I was thinking about was getting back and playing some more. If Zelda is a great game, why aren't we finishing it? If you've been wanting to play the guitar again, why haven't you practiced? Why do I keep paying my gym membership, but I'm not going? And the answer, my friends, is the final takeaway: discipline and routine. After you stop being a kid and you don't have reserves of free time to count on, it turns out really wanting to do something, it's just not enough anymore. You sort of have to force yourself to do it in order to rebuild the habit. And you might be thinking, okay, I've heard that before. Discipline for the tedious stuff like going to the gym or studying, but I'm supposed to want to play video games automatically. It's my hobby, it's my distraction, so why do I suddenly need to add discipline to the mix? Well, it turns out that if you have a busy schedule, rekindling old habits works exactly like reading a book. It's tough at the start, but after a while, it will get easier and the book will get finished. According to Andrew Huberman, our basic instinct always chooses the most gratifying short-term option. And although things like video games produce a lot of dopamine, getting started at anything feels like work compared to more immediate ways of getting that dopamine. Things like scrolling or watching shows. And if we are exhausted after our usual routine, the least thing that we want to do is more work.
I'm gonna share a little neuroscience tidbit.
Love it.
Additionally, I don't know if this happens to everybody, but if I'm playing video games knowing that I could be using this time for something quote unquote more productive, then I would feel guilty and my gaming session wouldn't be as enjoyable anymore. But I am certain that gaming is something that makes me truly happy, so I've been adding a sense of purpose to it. It can be something simple like, if I finish this game, I might get a cool idea for a video. This has helped me to stay disciplined and the backlog is getting constant updates. Currently, I'm playing what's widely considered the best JRPG of all time, which came out 30 years ago. And up next, I'm going to play what is widely considered the best JRPG of all time, which came out 8 years ago. As you can see, games are still really good, if not better, than they were in the past. Good stuff comes out every year, and if you're selective with what you add to your backlog and have the discipline to play them, you will come across those titles. Titles that will inevitably leave a mark on you, just like when you were a child. What's up, beautiful people? Future me here with some unscripted final thoughts for this video, or closing thoughts. I came up with the idea of this for this video because I genuinely wanted to get back to certain things, certain habits that I know that they would make me happy, such as gaming and getting back in shape. But the truth is that if you certainly think that you grew up and you just don't enjoy all those things anymore, or you just try a new game and it's boring, you don't owe it to anybody, you don't owe it to the game, you don't owe it to your past self or your future self. If it's boring, then it's boring. And I know I put a lot of pressure into gaming, completing more games, but the only thing that you owe yourself is to be happy. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. If you really want to do something, go ahead and do it. Discipline and consistency are cliches, but the only reason that we've heard about them so much is because they actually work. I've made a habit of putting these things back into my routine, and I find myself more relaxed, more creative, and generally more happier. So yes, tackling a backlog will make you happier. I recommend it. Just don't stress over it. Stressing over the backlog will distract you from actually enjoying the backlog. Also, what I said on the video about building a purpose around completing more games or resuming a habit that you want, focusing on the how and the why will make this not just a guide to completing more games, but also a tool for exploration, motivation, and habit building. So get back to whatever activity you want to resume. In the end, age is not the ultimate judge. Your habits are what dictates what you can do and what you can't. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, try this one. This one is my favorite video so far. If you haven't watched it, give it a try. And if you trust the YouTube algorithm, this is what it's recommending for you. So try it out. Leave a like on this video, consider subscribing, and yeah, have a good one. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.